assignments. We live in a culture that celebrates being seen, but rarely celebrates serving. Everybody wants the microphone. Very few people want the mop. Everybody wants the platform, but very few people want the preparation. Everybody wants a title, but not everybody wants a towel. Everybody wants to be recognized, but hardly nobody, Foster, wants to be responsible. And yet, the kingdom of God has always worked in the exact opposite direction. In God's kingdom, greatness is not measured by how many people serve you. It's measured by how faithfully you serve others. Jesus said, whoever will be great among you, let him be a minister. And whoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Think about it. Before I ever stood up here to deliver this message, somebody had to unlock the doors. Before the choir ever sang one song, somebody had to turn the lights on. Before anybody ever found their seat, somebody welcomed them with a smile if they followed their Usher directions correctly. Somebody helped somebody find a seat. Somebody helped somebody get to where they were going. Before any of these things were done that people see, there were people who were working behind the scenes. Some of the greatest work that's done in the church are done by people whose names are never called. Some of the greatest ministries happen where there are no cameras. Some of the greatest acts of worship are performed by servants who will never receive a standing ovation on this side of heaven. And if we're honest, that's where a whole lot of servants become discouraged. Because when your labor is unnoticed, when your sacrifice is underappreciated, when your faithfulness is expected but rarely acknowledged, you are tempted to ask, does this really matter? Does anybody really notice what I'm doing? Is it worth my continuing? Those aren't new questions. The believers at Corinth were asking similar questions. They were facing opposition. They were growing weary. They were living in a culture that questioned their hope and tested their faith. So before Paul closes one of the greatest chapters ever written about the resurrection, he leaves the church with one final charge, not just for preachers, not just for ushers, not just for apostles, but for every believer who has served God faithfully. He says, therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know, your labor is not in vain. If I had to summarize what Paul said in one verse, it would be, God is looking for unwavering servants. Notice what I said. I didn't say he was looking for the most talented. I didn't say he was looking for the most visible. I didn't say he was looking for the most celebrated, but the ones who will remain faithful when serving is costly, when obedience is inconvenient, and when nobody seems to notice. Church, if God were looking for an unwavering servant, will he find you to be one? I said, if God was looking for an unwavering servant, would he find you to be one? Well, let's examine this text discover the powerful truths that Paul reveals to us about an unwavering servant. First thing you see is that an unwavering servant realizes that their service is not about convenience, it's about calling. It says, be ye steadfast. Steadfast. It means to be settled, to be anchored, to be firmly fixed, to already have your mind made up. Well before Paul tells you what to do, he tells you who to be. And if I had time, I'd tell you that's what's wrong with a whole lot of our churches now. We bring people to the door too fast and put them up too soon. They don't even know who they are before they're trying to do what they don't even know what to do. Somewhere along the way, we have confused convenience with calling. And Foster, I discovered there is a difference between convenience and calling. Convenient asks, do I feel like it? Calling will have already said yes. Convenience says, is this really worth my time? When calling says he gave his life for me. Convenience asks, well, if I do it, will anybody recognize me? And calling says, the one who called me sees me. Convenience asks, well, you know that's Saturday. You got anybody else who can do it? But calling says, you, God, entrusted me with this assignment, so I'm going to show up when I'm supposed to show up. Convenience is driven by feelings. Calling is anchored by conviction. I came all the way from South Carolina to the south side of Chicago to tell you that every servant eventually has to choose between convenience and calling. Whether you're an usher, a deacon, a trustee, a choir member, a musician, a Sunday school teacher, a missionary, a preacher, a prayer warrior, a nursery worker, a parking attendant, a sound technician, a custodian, a person who's positioned themselves in the pew. Every servant has to ask themselves, will I choose convenience or will I answer my calling? Because calling will inconvenience you. Calling doesn't check your calendar before it checks your heart. Calling doesn't ask if you're comfortable. Calling asks, are you faithful? Look at Jesus. Look at Jesus. If Jesus had chosen convenience, he would have stayed in heaven. If Jesus had have chosen convenience, he would have avoided Bethlehem. He would have bypassed Gethsemane. He would have refused Calvary. Convenience would have had him not go to the cross, but love answered the call. Obedience embraced the work. Purpose outweighed his comfort. Jesus didn't choose what was easiest. He chose what was necessary to save our soul. And I wonder this morning if we've got any called people in the church. People who know it wasn't convenient, but you showed up anyway. People who had to pray and pray anyway. People who knew it wasn't convenient, but you sang anyway. People who had people talking about them, but you showed up anyway. Don't let convenience cancel your calling. Because your calling is greater than your comfort. Your purpose is greater than your preference. Your assignment is greater than your convenience. And Paul lets us know that the unwavering servant doesn't just have a calling. The unwavering servant has convictions that cannot be moved. That's why Paul doesn't stop with be ye steadfast. He says, be ye unmovable. The unwavering servant has a I shall not be moved spirit. Paul doesn't say that life won't try to move you. He says you won't be moved. Trouble will try to move you. Criticism will try to move you. Fatigue and weariness will try to move you. Disappointment will try to move you. Church hurt will try to move you. So